Hey everybody, welcome to the Tabletop Spotlight. I'm Adam.
And I'm Matt.
We're from Bowls, and we're here to talk to you today about some really cool stuff that happened this past week and stuff that's happening in the tabletop space. Yeah, Matt, how's it going?
I'm doing pretty well. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. Feeling a little weird today. My ears want to pop, but they won't.
It's cold for the second time in here.
It's just the
Texas.
weather. It's all cattywampus.
It was down to 40 degrees this morning, like 43 this morning, and I think it is getting up to 80 degrees this afternoon.
Yeah, welcome to Texas weather.
If you've never been to Texas, it is quite a whirlwind of adventure.
There's some bass going on next door. Somebody's having a house party or something. That's also why my ears want to pop, I think.
That's not just you. That's not the rumbling in your ear. I feel it too.
Wow. Anyway, we do actually have a topic today that we wanted to discuss. Mm-hmm. A little bit more guided, I guess, than last time. But
sure.
I wanted to ask you if and kind of talk about if there was a game from your younger years that you kind of remember playing or and want to play it again, or like wish it would make a comeback, or like have like a resurgence or something.
I have several good answers for this.
Yeah.
But at least the one that I always am going to fall back to, I'm cheating a little bit because it did get a restoration. Yeah. Because that game is Key to the Kingdom, which came out 95-ish, something like that. But I think this year, or maybe next year, I don't even know if it's out yet. Clearly, I haven't.
The 20th anniversary, perhaps, or something.
I don't know, but
30th anniversary.
Restoration Games, which is why I enunciated that word earlier, it was like sort of a foreshadowing. Restoration Games basically took the premise of the game and like not completely rehauled it because there's just a lot of new mechanics. Because basically the way Key to the Kingdom worked, and you might remember it if you're in your 30s. The board had multiple sections, and they like clipped together like puzzle pieces.
Yeah.
There was just two big boards, and then there was whirlpools, and the board would fold in on itself when one player stepped in the whirlpool. And the premise of the game was everyone was going to these different dungeons and dealing with these monsters and hazards. It was very fantasy adventure, trying to get these treasures. And it was similar to what we were talking about last week with Lone Wolf series.
Yeah,
it was another...
shout out to those guys.
They're still very good.
By the way, the name of the guy that made the video,
Questing Beast.
Yes, go check out that video. It was in the comments or the description last time. It was such a cool thing. Anyway,
So, similar to those books, Key to the Kingdom was very much my introduction to like that style, because it's not an RPG, really, but there was still, you had equipment and
RPG elements,
right? RPG elements for sure, because you're going to these dungeons and like you would draw a monster card, and the card would say, if you have rope, roll a die. If you get over 6, you defeat the monster. If you don't have rope, try to guess a number and then roll it. Like, it was weird mechanics like that.
Yeah.
But it was a lot of fun. I still have my original copy, and here's a very fun story. So when because I was 9 or 10 or whatever, and I didn't know Dungeons and Dragons. I had no idea that existed. I didn't learn about Dungeons and Dragons until middle school, so this would have been elementary school for me.
Sure.
And my dog, because the game comes with a D8.
Yeah.
And my dog ate the die because I had a dog that just like ate things. Like, that's what my dog did. So my mom and I thought that a D8, like, we didn't know it was a D8. It was like, oh, what a weird thing. Like, that's not a, like, they built this die just for this game. So we bought another copy of the game just for the die. Because we didn't know any better. So it was
turns out polyhedral dice sets weren't like a really you know.
It wasn't until 5-ish years, I mean maybe not that many, but like several years later when I learned about Dungeons and Dragons that I was like, oh,
you could just go buy one of these?
Go buy these. Because I never went to my local, I mean, at least where I grew up, it was Showcase Comics. And they did not have That's not where I went for my board games. I don't remember where I went for my board games, but anyway, so
the toy section is.
So, right, circling back to what I was saying, if I did have to have any game come back, it probably would be that one, because it was just a fun game, and like I said, I haven't really looked at too much of the Restoration Games version, but I assume the mechanics are all pretty similar with just modernization, because there was a lot of rough around the edges, archaic kind of stuff. But
I remember the funny story about the dicing. I remember pillaging like the Monopoly dice or the Risk dice for needing extra dice for other board games as a kid. So like we would just have like, we wouldn't have a bag of dice. Like we would put the dice back in the box. But if we ever needed extra dice, Yahtzee dice were always So
that
like
makes sense.
D8s. We did have some polyhedral sets in the house because my parents did play D&D, but like I didn't find out about those until much much later too. So like dice to me, a die was just a D6. I didn't know there were more sides.
My parents and my older sister, they're not nerds at all. Sure. So I was the only one who potentially might have known what a D8 was.
Yeah.
But, what about you? What's a game that you would bring back?
Yeah, so I'm pretty fortunate in that the games I would want to come back actually did come back.
Hey,
so
all right, both of us. Good.
The first one, probably one of the ones that most shaped my board game obsession. Go for it.
Hero Quest.
Yes,
Bam!
You remember.
I knew it.
Yeah, you remember. It was Hero Quest. I backed the Kickstarter. We have a video on our YouTube channel, Bella Souls. YouTube/Bella Souls.
If I remember, I'll put it in the corner.
In the corner over there, yeah.
But I probably won't.
but
if I do,
it was. I did an unboxing. It was a very nostalgic thing for me to get those minis back.
An unboxing of the big Hasbro Pulse.
Yeah, the Hasbro Pulse, right. They put out a Hasbro Pulse campaign for it. I backed it. I got it. I still play it. It's like I remember it, but now I'm old enough to understand what's actually happening.
Right,
sure. So but that was a pretty fun nostalgia trip for me.
Oh, I can only imagine.
And that game it's basically a carbon copy of the other game with some additional characters. Well, go watch the video.
Yeah.
But that's the first one for me.
Sure.
Then that was for like the board game D&D RPG kind of start for a young Adam. And the second game is BattleTech. BattleTech is the game that got me into tabletop gaming. Tabletop miniature wargaming.
Right, and that's getting a kind of resurgence as well.
Yeah. So BattleTech's never actually like gone away per se.
Sure.
Because for a long time,
indefinite hiatus.
Not even that. It's just kind of been like under the surface. Like it's never really broken through big like it did in like the late '80s, early '90s era of BattleTech, where like for a time you'd go to a game store and people would be playing BattleTech. Like you would go to a game store and see people playing Warhammer now. Like it was that big.
Gotcha.
For a time, and back in those times they had. I remember they still had lead miniatures, and they converted those to pewter, and that was like a big pewter. Oh man, this metal's so much harder and not doesn't taste the same. So that was a big shift, and then I don't know what happened because I stopped following tabletop games for a while.
Sure.
And it kind of. Well, that's not entirely true. I started playing other tabletop games, and I didn't forget about it, but I just stepped away from BattleTech for a long time. And the license kind of moved over to like the Clicks game, the BattleTech Clicks stuff, and that was more of a collectible thing for the Click style stuff, and it wasn't really my cup of tea. So if you liked it, that was great. But those were plastic pre-paints, and it wasn't.
Yeah, I never really got into any of the Click stuff.
Yeah, neither did I. So it was another version of the game, but I still remember playing like the old school stuff. And now, more recently, Catalyst Game Labs, they've been bringing it back for a while, and they've been I don't know. Here's the thing. BattleTech, MechWarrior, all that stuff, the license has been so chopped up over time, I can't keep it straight anymore either.
Gotcha.
But all I know is that something happened with the old metal miniatures line. somebody has the rights to those, and somebody has the rights to the plastics, and somebody has the
Weird.
rights to the game, and somebody has the rights to the video games. It's just all over the place, and I don't know. I can't keep track anymore.
That's so weird.
Go read the wiki page if you're interested. I don't want to get into it. But now, Catalyst is working again with the miniature side of things, and they're not relaunching it, but they have new products coming out to help people get into it.
There's a starter box now.
Yeah, the
right?
basic, the beginner box is like a new. We covered it, I think, a week or two ago on the Tabletop Spotlight. It's got 2 mechs in there. It's designed for like jumping right in. The game itself is still really simple. It's a hex-based movement system, so the map is a hex grid.
I like hex grids.
Yeah, it keeps it simple. It's for facing as well.
The hexagon is the bestagon.
There you go.
But it's a CGP.
Yeah.
CPG? Gray? CG? Not important. Keep going. I'm sorry.
The hex grid helps you with the movement and ranges and facing really intuitively because you can just see it. And then it's a simple D6 system. At most, you're rolling like 2D6 for like stuff.
Right.
So
no buckets of dice.
I mean, not really. You might roll a bucket of dice if you have not even multiple shots. You roll
like a
most
machine gun or whatever.
No, you roll most of that stuff one shot, and like machine guns just does X damage, so it's
gotcha. Okay,
but you roll hit dice.
No, I mean that's good. I like that.
Yeah, it's a very quick system. The hardest part is remembering the modifiers, but the quick start guide has some tips on like how to do that. They have an acronym called GATOR, which I'm not going to get into, but the point is that BattleTech, it's back in the way that it's never really been gone. But what really got me interested in checking it out once again is the fact that the miniatures are plastic and they are larger than the metal ones that I remember.
Oh wow!
And they're plastic now. They have more detail to them. They can have different sculpts and different poses for them now too. So
about how big are they?
Roughly? Oh, they're so the scale of the game, I think, is like technically like 15 millimeter, but the miniatures themselves are like the size of like a 32 millimeter like Warhammer figure or something like that.
So you're not getting like
you're not getting like giant dude. It's still like
I was sort of envisioning
the
Marvel Crisis Protocol Sentinels.
No, see that would be a different kind of scale of the game.
Right.
But because the game is like the hexes are an inch roughly.
Okay.
So like it's scaled down to fit 1 miniature per hex.
I mean, I guess that makes sense. It would just be really cool if they were big.
You'd be playing with like Adeptus Titanicus scale at that point, which would also be pretty sick.
That would be kind of cool.
But there's a game called that. It's called Adeptus Titanicus.
It's around here somewhere.
Yeah. But yeah, that BattleTech's the game that I'm actually looking really into. I actually picked up a box of the 4 mechs the other day to just kind of paint, just to play around with them.
That's fun.
But it's just a side thing for me right now, and I don't know. I'm not saying it's going to take over my hobby space, but because the game is so simple in terms to learn and also simple in terms of like painting mechs, it's like you could very easily and very quickly get a lance of mechs, a squad of mechs together and paint them up and start playing again. So they're plastic now. So
does anyone still make metal minis?
Yes, I think Reaper still has metal minis.
Okay.
They do have like the Reaper Bones collection, which is like plastic, cheap plastic, cheaper stuff. But yeah, there are still some companies that still do metal. Infinity, I think Corvus Belli still does Infinity in metal for the most part.
Because Aristea is plastic, and that's I think the only Corvus Belli property.
Yeah, I remember all of the Infinity miniatures being metal. When it first launched, and it's like 3rd edition now, so they might have.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's still metal because like those boxes are still heavy.
I don't. I mean, I understand why everyone is moving to plastic, but there is something very satisfying about like the weight of a pewter mini.
Yeah, I appreciate the weight of it as well. I don't like working with metal anymore. Just it's harder as a person that's built and painted lots of miniatures in my day. Like working with metal, like if you drop it, it's gonna chip more easily because it's heavier. Yeah, it is sturdier, and like you can get a lot of really good detail. And I think that this is another topic altogether. I think that the plastics, injection mold plastic stuff has just got to the point where it's lighter and easier to work with than metal. And
I'm sure
the lighter is the big thing for companies that want to ship stuff too.
Yeah,
because like
just logistically, that's gonna really cut costs.
Yeah, so yeah,
makes sense.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks for sharing that, man. That's
cool
stuff.
That was fun. Well, I since that was sort of our first like just random discussion. While we were discussing, I had a few more topics pop into my head that maybe we will discuss next week.
Right. But with that in mind, let's talk about some new tabletop stuff that you can pick up this week at your favorite local gaming store. All right, we're back with some brand new products that you can pick up this very weekend from your favorite local gaming store. Big shout out to our friends at Dragon's Lair Comics and Fancy. They're the ones that have hooked us up with the products we're showing off, and unfortunately, we're gonna get a bit of a glare on this one.
I'm doing my best.
Yeah,
I think that'll be fine.
That'll work. This is Katan.
I mean, right? You probably, even with the glare, I'm sure you can figure out what we're holding. So this is Katan 3D expansion box. So a couple months ago, right? It was still this year.
It was this year, yeah.
I think it was this year. They had the Katan 3D set, which was just what it sounds like. It was a Katan, but all of the hexes were like, the mountains were like mountains and the, whatever. So it was just, it's
almost like it was 3-dimensional.
Well, they were 3-dimensional anyway, because that's how physics and geometry
Well, it wasn't just flat paint. These were like actual...
Right. They had more than a cardboard of depth to them.
Yes.
But this is the Seafarers and the Cities and Knights expansions. So if you have your Katan 3D and are wanting to upgrade it even further, this is the way to do it. Especially considering if you are a Katan fan, you probably don't need me to tell you that Cities and Knights is, I think, an essential buy in terms of just of the
500 expansions. Yeah.
No, there's not that. I mean, in terms of like core game expansions,
sure.
I think
I'm thinking of like the other game,
right? No, there's
also Katans,
right? There's a lot of other versions, but I think there's just because there's Traders and Barbarians, there's that Pirates one, there's Seafarers, and I think there's Cities and Knights, and I think that's it. But not important. But again, this is another way to really up your Katan game. It does look fantastic.
Absolutely.
It's a little pricey, not gonna lie, but it looks fantastic, and Katan's a staple game.
I would say that if you bought the 3D Katan, you know what you're getting into, you probably also know that this is totally worth it. And again, it's how you would expand your 3D collection anyway, so you're gonna get this one if you got the other one. It's good. I love the tiles are all pre-painted. That's a really nice feature in my opinion, and they all look really cool. Like there's also like the card card holders and stuff like that for
all the resources. There's like little trays to keep
trays,
just some nice little organizers, and the all the ships that you get in here are they're not just
they're not
simple
a
sailboat.
Yeah,
right. Like
they're not like a little cardboard chit. They're actual.
They look like miniatures.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely, if you are willing to go the financial distance, it is worth it. Just to really flex on them.
But yeah, that's the Katan 3D expansion. Again, go check this one out. You know what Katan is.
Yeah.
Boom. Very cool stuff. It is also kind of heavy. All right, you're overselling it.
I know. It's not that heavy.
Let's talk about an expansion that is a little controversial. This is the Battle of Yavin scenario pack for Star Wars X-Wing. I say it's a little controversial because it's...
What is a scenario pack?
Yeah, it's a new thing that Atomic Mass Games / Asmodee / Star Wars X-Wing is doing. It allows you to relive the Battle of Yavin, the first Death Star fight.
I thought it was Yavin 4. Isn't it?
Yavin 4? The system is Yavin, but yeah, you're not wrong.
Okay, all right. I was just making sure because I'm not a huge Star Wars guy, but it was always Yavin 4 in my head.
Yeah. The battle, but it's known I think it's just known as the Battle of Yavin.
Sure.
Whatever.
Not important.
Somebody's gonna yell at us in the comments. The point is that this is controversial because this is not exactly what fans were asking for. This is essentially a card pack, and it has a bunch of ship cards in here, which is fine. Like, if you wanted to run a specific, pilot loadout for whatever, you've got your classics. Luke's in here, Jack Porkins, Han Solo, and the Falcon. You also have like Vader and a bunch of other TIE cards in here too. What's so controversial about this again is that the fans were not really looking for this. They want more Star Wars ships and more models.
Right, because there's no models in here.
Yeah, that's what's controversial about it. It's just cards. And obviously the rules for the scenario. But that's beside the point. It's just kind of a strange addition to the lineup. Maybe it's just an experiment on Atomic Mass Games' part. They make some really cool stuff. I'd be willing to give it a shot. I just don't. I know there's a lot of anger in the community about it.
That's the internet.
Yeah, but I also think some of it's not unjustified. It's just like I think it's misdirected. Like the fans want new ships, and I get that, and new miniatures, and I also get that. This is just an also product. It's not like replacing it. There's also a finite number of ships for them to print, so I don't.
Right. We were talking about this earlier, and we won't get into it again. But just real quick, because like Star Wars, or rather X-Wing, can't make up new ships because Star Wars is like a known franchise.
Yeah, so it's a property of Disney.
Right, so they have to wait for Disney to make those ships before X-Wing can like adopt them. So they're kind of stuck. I get it.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of ships that are like fan canon now, or extended universe, whatever you want to call it. And like, do they make those? I don't know. I mean, could they? Probably, but like, is it okay with Disney? Maybe Disney's saying no more shit. I don't know. Right. But anyway, Battle of Yavin. Just give it a chance. Like
I like it as a concept. I mean, I'm not an X-Wing player. When we used to play on Twitch, I flew my ships off the board far too often, so I don't like that game. But I love the idea of it because it gives you a new way to play with the minis that you already had. Right. And I think there's a lot of merit to that.
Yeah, you do need the core set to play, but this actually does have 8 Death Star Trench tokens. There's 20 standard loadout cards, like I was talking about, like the different pilots and their specific X-Wings.
Yeah, there's a lot of ship cards in here.
Yeah, and a bunch of new tokens and a rules thing in here too. So it's a scenario pack. If FFG comes out with more scenarios, I think that'd be interesting to check out. But again, people want ships, so take it for what it is.
Yes. Speaking of ships.
Nice,
kind of. Yeah, that works.
Nice segue. I like it.
This is Starfinder Dead Sons.
I'm going to get a thing.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. So, I'm going to leave this one mostly up to you because I don't know too much about Starfinder.
Yeah, okay. Starfinder is Pathfinder in space. It's actually Pathfinder in the future. You know what? I'm not going to get into that.
That is literally as much as I know.
Yeah,
And I know there are Dead Sun video games that I have not played.
Yeah, so we're not even going to get into that part of it, but Dead Sons was an adventure path, essentially like a campaign, like a periodic campaign thing that Paizo puts out, which they're really cool. They're like adventure slices. So this is like 6 chapters for the adventure, and this is the collection of all of them in one hardbound book now.
Nice.
And it's got some appendices in there and some extra stuff. But if you wanted to run the Dead Sons Adventure Path now, their campaign book essentially, you can just pick this up. If you got like the first chapter but missed chapters 3 and 4 and like, oh no, and found number 2 in like a discount bin somewhere, that's great. But if you just want to be like, I just want the whole thing in one,
a one and done.
Boom, you pick up this. I mean, it's $50, $49.99,
sure.
And it's great for DMs. I'm always a big fan as a DM to get or a GM to get ideas from other campaigns and books. So anything like story hook wise that gets the gears going for me is a welcome addition. So Dead Sons, the adventure path here, it's completely done. You can run it either as little slices, as one shots, as an entire campaign, however you want to do it. And it's for Starfinder, which again, Pathfinder in space in the future. So go check it out.
Very cool.
Yeah.
All right. What do you got next?
Speaking of RPGs, we have the Icons of the Realm, the Beholder boxed set.
Hey.
This is fun. I'm gonna hopefully
always love a good beholder. Oh,
right?
It's Velcro. I thought you were opening the box.
No, you can't see it too well, but there are 3 beholders in here.
Beholders are great.
Beholders are always great, right? So these are just 3 different painted versions of beholders. Come to think of it, most collections I don't have more than one beholder.
Beholder minis are hard to find. They really don't make them very often,
You have
which
to get
is a shame.
you have to get like the not the like the rando packs. You kind of have to get lucky.
Sure.
So Anyway, if you need multiple beholders, you want to keep them separately. Keep them. They are painted, so pre-painted, ready to go. It's a cool little box set, $49.99. Who doesn't like beholders?
It just dawned on me I don't have a beholder mini, and now I'm pretty upset.
Yeah, like I have one, and it's not painted, so I might get this one.
I also, real quick, I really like the different, there's like different styles of them, and I really like this kind of like icy looking one on the back.
The icy white bluish one.
Yeah, but that's icy is my favorite aesthetic, so that's unrelated. I mean, it is related, but I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, it's cool. They're pre-painted. Go check them out.
Yes.
Again, this box is $49.99.
Speaking of
that is cool.
Things that are blue. I don't know.
How's it going? It's Azul.
Azul means blue in Spanish, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I wasn't sure about that when I started making that because I don't speak Spanish very well. I was raised up in the north. It's not my fault. Azul. So this is the Master Chocolatier edition of Azul. Azul is a game we have talked about many times, and as probably every time we mention Azul or any other game of a similar popularity, if a game gets this many expansions and reprints and additions and versions and whatever, it's gotta be pretty good. And I was looking it up earlier, based on their Board Game Geek entry. I didn't count them all, but I'm going to guess 50 to 60 different awards listed. It's
impressive.
It's really impressive. I don't know if I've seen any other game that has that many.
I would call out, too, that this Master Chocolatier version is going to be a limited run. So this is like, it's not actual chocolate tiles, just in case you were wondering and got excited and thought you were going to get to eat them, because I did at first, too.
They do look like little
chocolate treats.
Lind?
Yeah.
Lind? Am I pronouncing that right? Lindt? Lind chocolates?
Yeah. The little chocolate squares you get for Valentine's
chocolate
Day.
Squares.
But yeah, this is like a one and done print run. So
like the Katan 3D, if you really want to flex on them,
boom.
This is the one to get.
Yeah.
But Azul's good game. It's your pattern building, tableau constructing kind of game. It's been around for, I was gonna say ages, but not really. Maybe
like 5 years, maybe
5-ish years. And if it's won 60 awards in 5 years, it's got to be doing something right.
Yeah, and the Master Chocolatier version, if for some reason you didn't like the tiles, like the design on the tiles, it's all based off chocolate. Come on.
It is like, we've talked about this a couple times. Azul is very visually overwhelming sometimes. This is much more toned down. Like there's the patterns are a little less poppy, I guess. Which is not I'm not trying to say that's a bad thing. I'm just like it's more chill.
Instead of bathroom tiles or like decorative ceiling tiles, it's chocolate.
Right.
So like you can open a box of chocolate and have a bunch of and this is what this one is. It's cool. Go if you haven't played Azul, go check it out. It's a very cool tactile game too. Like along with the visuals, you're gonna play with the tiles.
The tiles are very whatever the physical version of ASMR is. It's that.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so that is Azul Master Chocolatier Edition.
Next, speaking of games that get a lot of reprints or slash, that's a bad segue.
No, that works. That works.
It's not really reprints. There's a lot of extras.
A lot of expansions.
Expansions. I like. There we go. Smash Up, which is what my mouth tried to do that word.
Yeah.
This is Smash Up's 10th anniversary box, and in case you're wondering, yes, there are new factions in here.
I didn't realize Smash Up was 10 years old.
I didn't either, but thinking about it now, I'm like, yeah, it kind of fits.
It does.
This box has 3 new factions. There are 11 new Titan cards, and if you've played with what is it? We're Big in Japan expansion, then you know what the Titans are. It's got a new way to play in here as well. But the fact that there's, again, 3 more factions means I have to buy this box. There's also just some extra stuff in here, to, like I said, new ways to play. I want to say the factions, I don't know if they're listed in the back.
I don't see them anywhere.
There's a first player token.
The one thing I will say that
Titans.
makes me very upset that this exists is because I have the big Smash Up box.
I do too. I have the bigger, nerdier box. That's like
and
ginormous.
now it's not everything in Smash Up. So Paul Peterson, you jerk. I have to get this one too now.
Get this one too. But that's pretty cool. It's the 10th anniversary edition.
Yeah.
If you've never played Smash Up, you get to pick 2 factions.
Should have explained
roll them together.
The game is.
You shuffle them together and you play. It's a point scoring game where like there's cards that have locations and you're battling to take the location over, and when the location pops, you score it, and then whoever has cards on the location scores points based off of first, second, or third. Mm-hmm. It's very simple, but it's also
really
a lot of fun.
It is tons of fun, and every deck that you can get is like robots, aliens, rabbits, goblins, zombie. Like they're all just like weird things, and you mix them together. So
Kung Fu 70 stars.
There's, I mean, at this point, I don't know math, but there's got to be quintillions of combinations that you can muster together.
I don't know math either, but that's a big number. So go check this out. It's from AEG. Go get the core set if you've never played Smash Up, and then buy this. But go play. It's a lot of fun.
All right. Last, yes, I think.
No, I have one more.
Oh, one more. Okay. So this is Quacks and Co.
Quacks and Co.
Which is the kid-friendlier version of Quacks of Quedlinburg. I think I'm pronouncing it. I've never had to say it out loud until this very moment, which is kind of a bummer. But Quacks of Quedlinburg is a game that came out 3-ish years ago, is very well loved.
Yeah.
And this version is a race where it's a lot of the same mechanics where you have your tiles and you throw them in your bag. And then you have your mount, which at least based on the cover here is a donkey or a mule, or I don't know the difference.
Sheep as well.
Maybe. There's a pig, there's a sheep, there's a cow.
And a donkey.
Right. And then it's a race, and you're drawing your tiles from the bag, and then based on the number and color, you get to move a certain amount and do certain things. Then you buy more tiles to throw in there, and that's sort of the cycle of buying tiles, putting them in your bag, to draw back out, to do more things, to buy more tiles, to cycle.
Would you say it's an engine builder, or is it not
Kinda. Quite? So if you're being more technical, it is a pool building game, because you are building your pool of tiles from which you draw. But in that, it's very similar because you are choosing which colors to focus on, and each color of tile, like, I might be getting this wrong, but like red tiles let you get currency, which you can spend on the green tiles, which let you take additional turns, or the purple tiles let you roll a die to do some random effect. Like there's different colors do different things. So based on how you want to, and then you can upgrade your tiles. So it has an engine builder feel to it, but it is very kid friendly. It says on the back here ages 5 up, which I think might be a little low for my, like, I don't know, 5.
I don't know kids very well, but I would be worried that they would be tempted to eat the pieces.
Maybe there's a lot. This is a choking hazard game for sure. So I would just keep that in mind. But it is very kid friendly, and I always really like the like sort of pool building draw from a bag game. They're fun and, like Azul, just very tactically
Tactile?
Yes, tactilely.
Tactilely tactical.
Right. Not. No, I was gonna say like nice. It just feels fun, and I don't know. Very fiddly. So this game is right up my alley.
Games are only 25 minutes too, just to put in perspective. Right. So super easy.
And the board is double sided, so you can play a short or long game. So if 25 minutes is too long, you can cut it down even further if you want. Cool. But yeah, Quacks and Co.
All right, and last for sure this time, this is Between Two Cities, the Essential Edition.
Wow.
And again, because it's the Essential Edition. It's from Stonemaier, by the way. So if you've played Scythe or Wingspan, that was the other one.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I always forget they make Wingspan.
Yeah. So
they make good games.
They make good games.
Yes.
I've played this one. I haven't played the Essentials Edition, but I have played Between Two Cities before. It's a very interesting game. You start with a city board, like a city planning board, each player, and you basically are working together with the person on your left and right to build your city. There's some fun mechanics that go into it, which like how you pull tiles or how you place tiles, because you're basically passing. It's almost like it's a tile drafting game, so you're having to pass back and forth. But you score points not only based on what you have, but kind of like how your opponents got stuff too. So it behooves you to not entirely screw the people over on your left and right, is what I'm saying. So
that's good.
It's kind of a neat co-opetition game, because obviously the person on your right is not working with the person on your left. Mm-hmm. So you can kind of see how, you're going to pass that tile to them, but I don't want you to. Can you not do that? But you need to, because they're your partner, not mine. Yeah. So it creates kind of an interesting dynamic with that. It's recommended for 3 to 7 players as well, which is kind of a unique thing. We don't see a lot of 7-player games. So if you have a bigger gaming group and you can get up to 7 players, like definitely check this out. It's having played it before and like remembering how it kind of goes together. It is a lot of fun in a bigger group.
I always really like the games that, and I don't know the word for it off the top of my head, where it's like the person to your left and your right are your allies, but they themselves are not allies. Right. It's just a really, it creates such conflict, but like not. It's anytime I play Magic that way a lot, which is always really, if you get like a big group of people, that's the way to do it for sure. It makes the games a lot faster, but it really adds a level of diplomacy to games that just wouldn't necessarily otherwise have them.
Yeah, it's not necessarily I wouldn't call it a meta game, but it is definitely like there's an extra layer to those types of games, which is what this introduces. I also want to say too that this has the original game and the Capitals expansion. So it's got both in one box, which is why it's the Essentials Edition. And as we said, like, again, if a game's got multiple editions, gotta be doing something right.
And I think, like with every Stonemaier games, there's the automata cards, so you have like a little solo, or I think you can play with 2, right? Yeah, there's a 1 and 2 player variant, because I know with Scythe they have that same thing with the automata cards, and anyway. Just want to point that out.
Very cool stuff. Go check out Between Two Cities. I thought at first it was an expansion to Between Two Ferns.
Right.
That's a very different.
Very different. But yes, that's everything for today.
Boom. A lot of cool board games this weekend. Again, big shout out to our friends at Dragons Lair Comics Fantasy. Thanks so much for hooking us up today. And Matt's going to throw us back out.
All right, I'm done. It's really not that heavy.
It's not that bad. But yeah, very cool stuff. If any of these products interest you, go to your favorite local gaming store and support your local scene. And if you're here in Austin, Texas, you can pop by Dragon's Lair and pick up these fine products this very weekend. Anyway, that's going to do it for us here on the Tabletop Spotlight. I'm Adam.
And I'm Matt.
We're from Bowls. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll catch you next time.
Bye.